One thing I've noticed as a neurodivergent, and in particular as an ADHDer, is that when I feel like I'm plateauing in some way in life, whether in my relationships, my career, my hobbies, my passions, I start to feel kind of glum, disengaged, demotivated. I haven't been able to attain that stimulation or novelty that I need to manage my dopamine dysregulation. We're all chasing a dopamine hit as ADHDers in our lives, and it's this balance between getting the reward and adequate challenge to get the reward. The chase, the pursuit, is often more pleasurable than the actual outcome. And as long as we feel like we're climbing a slope that's relatively steep, but not enough that we're so challenged that we want to give up, we can feel like we're getting somewhere and we can get our dopamine fix through the process itself, again, and not the outcome. And if you manage to master a skill, or the reward that you're reaping from that exercise starts to taper off, or you're feeling like you're not growing professionally in your skill set, in your knowledge, in recognition, then you start to feel that plateauing effect. And the plateauing is incredibly demoralizing because as a result of that, you're not getting your fix and the dopamine dysregulation kicks in and you start to crash. Your spirits plummet and you believe that you failed, that you're not achieving anything, or you're feeling kind of antsy and like uneasy and like you need to go pursue some new activity to meet that deficit. You might want to suddenly engage in addictive or highly rewarding activity like binge eating candy, which is one of my fatal flaws, because things have slowed down and I feel like I'm not making enough progress, or like I'm not getting enough challenge, or I'm not getting where I want to be. And we have to be very cognizant of when we start to feel like we're plateauing, because that is not a call for us to recognize that our life is unsuccessful, we failed as a person, or we're miserable and having all these negative perceptions about ourselves and our existence. It's more so that we're just not meeting that chemical deficit in our brain that we usually meet through getting our dopamine hits. And by keeping on an even slope, we're getting what I call a dopamine drip feed. We're getting a steady drip, 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 drip of dopamine hits to kind of sustain us. And this plateauing will happen as a natural process where, like I said, you might master a skill. You might suddenly wrap your head around a topic that you were voraciously consuming information about. And because of that, you don't feel necessarily that you can move at the same pace and get the same level of reward or challenge that you previously did. And because of that, then you'll engage in that frantic search for a replacement source. And sometimes you'll take shortcuts and go for the quick and easy sources of dopamine. But I think if you do experience that, and if you can resist the urge to reach for those easy sources of dopamine and engage in some self-reflection, explore what that plateau is. Are you needing to specialize in what you're doing profession-wise? Are you needing to completely switch your passion or hyper-focus on a specific area within that can now add renewed challenge and kind of get you back on that slope? Is the relationship not moving at the pace you want? Is it not necessarily giving you what you need? Or are you feeling like there's limited potential for growth in that interpersonal relationship? And do you feel like you need to broach that conversation with the person to kind of move forward or not? Or to then pursue a different relationship or shift your attention elsewhere? It doesn't need to be a black and white ultimatum type fixed. A lot of these situations, it can be an opportunity to explore why you're plateauing and what needs to change or what needs to be improved or what new approach you need to take in order to get yourself back on that slope of adequate challenge, adequate reward. Have you struggled with this phenomenon of feeling like you've fallen off a slope and you're now plateauing and then crashed and had some kind of existential depression experience, or questioned your worth, or questioned something that you were doing or your relationships or your achievements? And how have you found that you've been able to recover from that and get back on the slope and recover from the plateau and move forward with your life without having to drastically throw everything out or completely reinvent your passions or completely change up what you're doing with your life? I would love to hear from you.